let's use version 4 and let's get into a construction and see why it's useful sometimes to use Sketchpad instead of pencil and paper. So the whole idea here behind Geometry Sketchpad is to have dynamic geometric constructions. And so I'm using a little trick here where I'm holding down the Shift key in order to maintain horizontal and vertical segments. And so my goal here is to construct a square. Now the idea behind these dynamic constructions is they need to be able to maintain all the properties of a square no matter how I manipulate or drag. And so this construction right here, I'm trying to get you to see here that while this might look like a square, all it would take for me to show that it's not a square is to drag one of these vertices, and you'll see that if ever I did have equilateral lengths and right angles, I certainly don't the moment that I try manipulating or dragging this. So what we have here is a fail, not a square. So how can we get a square that will always be a square? I'll try to embed little shortcuts and tricks in the videos as I go here. One of them is if you highlight something and you hit the alternate key along with greater than or less than keys, you can either increase or decrease the size of text or labels. So I'll increase the size here of my construct a square heading. So in order to construct a square, here's part of the process. Start with a circle. And I'm going to put a radius connecting the center point to the control point. Okay, and this is going to end up being one of the sides of my square. Now, to construct my first 90-degree angle, notice what I'm highlighting, one segment and one endpoint. And I now have in my construct menu the choice of perpendicular line. And so when I choose that, the perpendicular line will go through the point that I highlighted and it will be perpendicular to the given segment. So there's my perpendicular line, and I can do drag tests as I go here to verify that I will always have a perpendicular intersection. And now what I'm going to do is locate another vertex, and here's another little shortcut. Control L allows me to construct a segment. Control H allows me to hide, and so I'm going to hide the perpendicular line, but the segment which was coinciding with that line remains at a 90-degree angle. And what I can do to verify and prove in this dynamic construction that I have a 90 degrees, I can also measure the angle. And we can see that no matter how I drag or try to adjust, I'm always having this 90-degree angle. Alright, so now 2 more sides and I'll be done. What I want to use here in order to get the location of this side is if I highlight the original side of my square and this point C, I can now construct a parallel line, and you can see that those will always be parallel. And I'll do the same thing with this segment and this point, another parallel line, and now I have the intersection, which is Control I as a shortcut, of those 2 lines. And so let's Control L, a few more segments. Control H will hide these lines, and now I will also hide the circle. And let's label this point. So I have square ABCD. And what other measurements do I need in order to satisfy the properties of a square? I have 190. Let's get one more 90. And let's also measure the length of each side. And we'll see that no matter how I manipulate or adjust this dynamic construction, I'm always maintaining my 90-degree angles and also my equilateral sides. So there we have it, constructing a square.